The smell of charred meat and betrayal hung thicker than the smoke over Maple Street. Karen Walsh, the neighborhood's self-appointed guardian of order, had finally snapped, and the fallout was about to sear more than just a few burgers. It was a balmy Saturday evening, the kind where laughter and clinking glasses should have filled the air. Instead, the cul-de-sac pulsed with tension. Mike Torres, a jovial single dad and barbecue enthusiast, had spent all week planning his annual summer cookout. His backyard was a haven of community kids darted through sprinklers, neighbors swapped stories over cold beers, and the smoky aroma of his famous ribs promised a night of joy. Mike's grill, a gleaming stainless steel beast he'd saved a year's worth of overtime to buy, was the heart of it all. He called it Big Bertha, a name that drew chuckles from the crowd. But across the street, Karen watched from her pristine porch, her lips pursed like she'd swallowed a lemon whole. Karen wasn't just any neighbor. She was the queen of complaints, a one-woman HOA with a phone glued to her ear and a knack for spotting infractions no one else cared about. Unmowed lawns, kids' bikes left on sidewalks, even a mailbox with a slightly faded flag nothing escaped her hawk-like gaze. But Mike's BBQs? Those were her white whale. The smoke, she claimed, was a public health hazard. Never mind that Maple Street was a tight-knit community where folks shared recipes, not grudges. Karen's crusade wasn't about reason. It was about control. That evening, as the sun dipped low, Karen's patiencer, whatever thin thread of it she had, snapped. Mike's grill was in full swing, the ribs sizzling, the crowd buzzing. Karen stormed across the street, her flip-flops slapping the pavement like war drums. "Mike Torres!" she bellowed, her voice cutting through the music. Heads turned. The chatter died. Mike, mid-flip of a burger, froze. "Your smoke is choking my roses. I've had it. I'm calling the cops." The crowd gasped, then groaned. Calling the police over barbecue smoke? It was absurd even for Karen. Mike laughed it off, thinking she was bluffing. "Karen, come on, grab a plate. Let's talk this out." But her eyes glinted with something darker than annoyance and vindictiveness. She spun on her heel and marched back to her house, already dialing. Minutes later, 2 squad cars rolled up, their lights flashing like a bad omen. Officer Daniels, a seasoned cop with a no-nonsense demeanor, stepped out, followed by his rookie partner, Officer Lee. The crowd parted as Daniels approached Mike, who was still clutching his tongs like a lifeline. "We got a call about a disturbance," Daniels said, his tone neutral but his eyes scanning the scene. Karen stood smugly on her lawn, arms crossed, as if she'd just won a war. "Disturbance," Mike said, incredulous. "It's a cookout. The only thing disturbed is Karen's sense of fun." A few neighbors snickered, but the air was thick with unease. Daniels raised a hand for silence. "Ma'am," he called to Karen. "Mind explaining?" Karen launched into a tirade, her voice rising with every word. "This man's grill is a menace. The smoke's ruining my property, my health, my peace. I demand you shut this down." She pointed at Big Bertha like it was a smoking gun. The crowd murmured, some shaking their heads, others whispering about Karen's history of petty complaints. Mike's daughter, Sophia, clung to his leg, her eyes wide with worry. Daniel sighed, clearly unimpressed. "Let's take a look," he said, walking toward the grill. That's when things went from tense to catastrophic. As Daniels approached, he noticed something odd. The grill wasn't just smoking, it was dripping. Water pooled beneath it, mixing with ash and grease. The ribs, once golden and juicy, were a soggy, blackened mess. Mike's jaw dropped. "What the hell?" he muttered, stepping closer. The crowd gasped. Someone whispered, "Did someone sabotage it?" Officer Lee, sharp-eyed and curious, crouched by the grill. "This isn't just water damage," he said, pointing to a trail of liquid leading across the yard. The trail ended at a garden hose lying in the grass. Karen's hose, still dripping. The crowd's murmurs turned to shouts. "She did it!" someone yelled. "She drowned the grill." Mike's face reddened, his hands shaking. "Karen, you destroyed my grill? My ribs? My night?" Karen's smug facade cracked. Two was protecting my property, she stammered. The smoke was unbearable, but her excuse fell flat. The neighbors, once amused, now glared. Sophia, tears streaming, shouted, "You ruined Daddy's party." The betrayal stung worse than the smoke ever could. Daniels, now visibly irritated, turned to Karen. "Ma'am, did you take it upon yourself to douse this man's property?" Karen opened her mouth, then closed it, her eyes darting for an escape. The evidence was undeniable. The hose, the water, the ruined grill. Lee chimed in, "That's vandalism, ma'am, and a false police report to boot." The crowd erupted, some cheering, others demanding justice. Mike stepped forward, his voice low but shaking with fury. "This wasn't just about smoke, Karen. This was about you hating that we're happy, that we're together. You couldn't stand it, so you lashed out." His words hit like a punch, and for a moment Karen looked small, exposed. But she doubled down, spitting, "You people never respected my boundaries." The argument escalated, voices overlapping, accusations flying. Neighbors who'd stayed silent for years now aired their grievances. Karen's noise complaints, her snide remarks, her relentless need to control. Daniels raised his hands, silencing the chaos. "Enough," he said. "Ms. Walsh, you're looking at a fine for property damage and filing a false report. You're lucky it's not more." He scribbled on his notepad, the sound cutting through the tension like a knife. Karen's face crumpled, not with remorse but with indignation. "This is outrageous," she shrieked. "I'm the victim here, but no one bought it." The crowd turned away, rallying around Mike as he tried to salvage what was left of his cookout. Sophia hugged him tightly, whispering, "It's okay, Daddy." But it wasn't. Big Bertha was ruined, the ribs unsalvageable, the night tainted. The community spirit that had defined Maple Street felt fractured, and Karen's actions were the fault line. As the police escorted Karen to her house to issue the fine, the neighbors lingered, helping Mike clean up. Some offered to chip in for a new grill, others brought out their own food to share. The cookout resumed, quieter now, but with a stubborn resilience. Mike stood by the wreckage of Big Bertha, staring at the charred remains. "I just wanted to bring people together," he said to no one in particular. A neighbor clapped his shoulder. "You did, man. She can't take that away." But the victory felt hollow. Karen's fine $500 for damage scowled replaced the trust she'd shattered. She retreated to her house, curtains drawn, as the neighborhood tried to rebuild what she'd broken. The sun set, casting long shadows over the cul-de-sac, and the smell of smoke lingered, a bitter reminder of the cost of division. In the days that followed, Maple Street grappled with the fallout. Some neighbors forgave Karen, chalking it up to a bad day. Others saw her as a cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when resentment festers unchecked. Mike, ever the optimist, started saving for a new grill, determined to keep the tradition alive. But the sting of that night never fully faded. What do you think? Did Karen's actions stem from a need for control, or was she genuinely protecting her space? How would you balance community harmony with personal boundaries in a situation like this?